Number 5, we don't have a strong financial market control. The central bank is trying, but we still have a market that the central bank is still trying to manage, both the BDCs on one side. You can't have a total control over the guys who sell currencies on the street, which you call the parallel market or the black market in local parlance. That's control and supervision of that bleeding from the banks to the interbank, from the central bank to the street, whatever. We still have too many markets within the financial market that is not so narrow. So the control and that strong market control is not yet there. Number 6 is a strong non-FX reserves. We don't have a strong sovereign wealth fund as a backbone, and we don't have a strong excess crude account. So on these 6 counts, we're not strong. Now, who's pushing the devaluation agenda? And I can tell you straight from here, this is basically a foreign agenda. It's an overseas agenda for Nigeria to devalue. And that's where some of these calls have been. And they've been coming before the elections, before the elections. So it's not just President Buhari that is facing this. This has been in the discourse before he came into office. Well before the elections, the discourse has been from the foreign interest, look, Nigeria should devalue. But if you look at the countries that devalued strongly in 2015, they are the ones that the foreign investors went in and pick up their bonds at very cheap prices. Look at Greece. Greece is one of the best performing bond market globally in the DCM in 2015. And it's one of the best performing because everybody went in because Greece was in trouble and they pick it up. Turkey was another one. The Philippines, Argentina, Ukraine and Russia. So if you look at emerging markets, these countries that are troubled are where investors, foreign investors, portfolio investors go in, they pick up these assets very cheap, and they come back and sell them back to you. You're the one paying the bill at the end of the day. Now the president says we're not going to do that. So what is the central bank left with to do what you call demand-side management? Central bank had always been working on demand-side management, and which is the basic side of our problem. What is the demand side? And the president re-echoed it, and we don't need to re-echo it. And President Buhari is not the first president to say it. President Obasanjo said it 1,000 times for 8 years he was in office. President Yar'Adua said the same thing. We keep importing toothpick and rice and what have you, and lace materials from Switzerland. We keep talking about, there's no single president who hasn't talked about it. But the question is, who is the president that will do it?
So now, what does the CBN need to do? Because every policy that it seems to have come up with, everybody has kicked against it, well, from importers to even domestic, users of whatever this product are. Everybody just seems to, because right now the central bank needs the support.
You need to go back. See, this is very. We're in the theater of operation right now. We need to. So the patience is on the table. We need to do something. We need to do some long term. We need to do some short term. And some advice has been given. The central bank, remember what the president said last week, Tuesday, when he talked about the budget, paragraphs 43, 44, and 45 of his budget. And I always remember those 3 paragraphs, those chapters and the verses. And he says, look, the central bank will look again at the imports FX restrictions on those items and will come up with an adjustment. So we will expect the central bank, perhaps by the first monetary policy meeting, MPC meeting of 2016, which is sometime in January, in a few weeks from now, perhaps 3 weeks or thereabout, for the central bank, or the one in March, to say, look, we've reviewed these 43 items. We're going to relax 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20, to in line of the realities of what they have done on the side of demand-side management over the last 1 year or thereabout.
Especially with regards to production, because there are actually some manufacturing items that are actually listed on that those items.
List. Yes. So the central bank will have to go back and review that list. But whether we're going to have what you call a free-for-all open football field, no, it's not likely going to happen again. The president you have in office is someone who keeps reminding Nigerians at every point when he first came into power 30 years ago. He referred to it again last night. He's not going to let that go of his memory. He remembered when you have £2 in 1983 for 1 Naira. Okay? So he's not going to let go. And on the campaign trail, he said he would love to see 1-to-1 Naira-dollar parity. So he's not going to let go of that and say, look, right now I'm going to let it go to 500 if you devalue. As some of my friends on Twitter, Ugo says, look, if you float the Naira, he said he supports the floating of the Naira, but is it going to be a free floating, which is going to be 100%? Yes, you need to float the Naira, but against what will you float the Naira? The president asked, against what will you devalue the Naira as well? China did some devaluation this year. We saw how much tooth China almost lost. Hundreds of billions of dollars.
Argentina lost a whooping sum, especially
30%,
on the markets
yes.
as well. It was really, really bloodletting.
No, it was a serious bloodletting. Now, if you devalue now and you have 30% down, where is the buffer? FX reserves are about $28.9 billion. The stock market is about $45, $48 billion in value. We have pensions of about 4.5 trillion. Okay? Our stock market, 9.2 trillion naira. If you put everything together, it's not enough to support that. So where would the money come from? And I'm sure the pension guys are going to put their money on the street and say, look, let's use it to support the naira. The pension liabilities must be safe. So nobody's going to touch that money. So stock exchange is not going to give you a dime. So where would the money come from? I can see it on paper. We don't have excess crude account. We have about $1.5 billion in the Sovereign Wealth Fund. If you add that to what is left in the ECA, everything is all up to $35 billion. That's just a drop in the ocean if you consider what happened to the Chinese, the Argentina, the Azerbaijan, those who have done serious devaluation in 2015. Now, the question is this. If you devalue right now, who comes in and pick up Nigeria's assets? Do we have the strong market to support it? No, we don't. So the central bank, the government, and that's what the president says at the budget, he says, look, I've sat down with the technocrats, and they've advised that we hold on this particular issue. So we have three issues to play with. Demand side management, float the Naira, or devalue. Devalue is the deep end of the ocean. If you go down there, well, let's hope you have enough, the kind of lift-off that can bring you back to the surface. You float the Naira, well, you have to be prepared. In what direction does the ocean current carries you? Do you have what it takes? Now, the demand side is that where is things leaking? And the demand side is what you do in an economy like Nigeria, in which things are not the way you want it. You don't have a strong industrial base. You don't have a strong non-oil export. You don't have even the oil that used to be very strong. Got the bad news yesterday, isn't it?
India and the Netherlands will no longer be importing. And
because while everybody were on holiday, the Indian Prime Minister or President went to Russia to meet with President Putin while we were having party. He went there and signed a deal. So the Indians that we were looking for up to as the best market for us for our oil had gone to bed with the Russians. So we need to find new clients, new partners. And I'm sure over this weekend or by the first week in January, Iran is back in the oil business. So what happens next? What happens next?
We'll be talking to Bosun. Thank you so much for coming in and then sharing.
It's a difficult option.
Yes. It is a very difficult option. So we're actually practically between the devil and the deep blue sea. Which way are we going to go?
No. You have the sea, you have the devil, then you have the skies as well, because it's not Skyfall. I don't know what to call it. The sky. Okay, no. Skyfall.
But we'll keep talking about this. We've got Omotola Abimbola up in just a moment from AfriInvest to take a look at this. Of course, let's see if he's going to toe the same line as Bosun in just a moment. Stay with us.